Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain. Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spiderman. Hey everyone.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Film Artsy. I'm 𝘍𝘪𝘭𝘮𝘊, and we just got the first episode of the new Loki series, and all I have to tell you that so far it has been absolutely fantastic. In this episode, or today, what we're doing, we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the things we saw, things we think might happen. So if you don't want any spoilers, you need to click away now, because we're definitely going to give some spoilers for episode 1. We're going to recap what took place and what we hope to see in the upcoming next 5 episodes. So grab your Loki charms and let's get started. The episode started off like we had speculated before. We find ourselves back in 2012 New York, where the time heist is taking place with the Avengers. During the time heist, the Hulk busts open the door, hits Tony Stark with the case who has the Tesseract. Loki grabs the Tesseract and transports, and this kicks off the Loki series. We've seen this scene a couple times in the trailers where he falls into the desert and runs into some Mongolian folk, and unless you're thinking this is going to be a long sequence where he's kind of traveling on his own, it's not. The TVA is right on top of him and immediately apprehend him, calling him a time variant. The explanation behind what these time variants are is when someone separates from the sacred timeline, and we're going to get into a little bit more about that just in a second. So right off the bat, Loki's brought to TVA. He's in prison, collared up, and he starts learning a little bit more about all that goes on in the Time Association group, the Timekeepers. After being apprehended, he goes through a series of rooms where they talk about, is this everything you've ever said? They talk about whether he has a soul, and there's some humorous sequences here, but really it's giving you a feel that the TVA has like a process. So they've been doing this for a long time. There's been many variants in the past, and that they have this thing called the reset. So essentially, and I'm not sure exactly what the reset is because they totally eliminate a guy. Like, it looks like he just gets disintegrated, and is that the reset? It might be, but it seems like either they place them back in their timeline before the variation happened, or they're just eliminated entirely, and that keeps somehow the timelines together. When you're messing with time, there's always kind of interesting points, but for the most part, it felt pretty succinct in this episode. There's a lot to enjoy in this episode, especially there's a whole bunch of development in such a short time, and this is really a testament to Marvel's character development. We know Loki's end, and so we get 2012 Loki again. We have a previous video about this, that there's 2 Lokis, and the Loki we have in the Loki series is indeed the one from 2012, not the future one, but he does get some insight about his future. During his apprehension, we get our favorite mascot, Miss Minutes, to show up finally on screen, and she gives us a Jurassic Park vibe, throwback animation, what happened back in time, and now how the TVA has been created. This is a really interesting point because we get a lot of key, significant words in this animation. I feel like this animation is going to be dissected over and over and over again because it really is something interesting. They talk about how there was a great war before, and in the Great War before, there was multiverses colliding and battling for one timeline to come out on top. And then these beings called the Timekeepers, which I'm sure we're going to learn more about throughout the series, the beings called the Timekeepers eventually conquered this war, won this war, whatever, and got it to become the sacred timeline. After that multiverse timeline, which is huge that they're saying the word multiverse, so we have it, like, it is canon. I don't know if it's been said in any other Marvel property, but we have the word multiverse being used, and we have to talk about a great war before, which I'm sure we'll hear about again, that after that, they've created the sacred timeline that the TVA keeps. Also, during this anime sequence with our favorite mascot, Miss Minutes, we get to talk about the Nexus, which is critical because if you know anything about the Nexus, this has to do with who Scarlet Witch is. She is a Nexus being. This is just the same in all timelines, and this is why I believe that she's going to be critical to this multi-dimensional situation we're going to have. Hopefully it's Spider-Man No Way Home, what we're going to have in the Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange. You can't gloss over these. They're saying these, they are laying the groundwork for these things to exist in the Marvel upcoming cinematic universe.
Before we continue our video, I just want to let you guys know that we have a really cool Instagram that updates on a regular basis. So if you like all things Marvel, this is the Instagram for you. So go follow that filmartsy Instagram right now. You won't regret it, I promise you. Seriously, open Instagram right now and click that follow button. Now back to the video.
During the sequence, we get a cutaway that there is somebody who is traveling time and actually eliminating TVA Time Minutemen people. And we find ourselves back in 1549, where we got Owen Wilson's character showing up and realizing that his folks have been killed by someone who is a fugitive time variant, and they consider him to be a very dangerous time variant. So in this 1949 sequence, we get a picture of the window glass pane of what seems to be the devil, more aka Mephisto, which is a huge revelation, and I do not think it was on accident. I'll explain a little bit why there's some letdown here, but we do have at least an indication that someone views this time fugitive as the devil, and it is at least maybe Mephisto, but I feel like Disney just playing with us now, because we've been seeing Mephisto and everything, and it never is Mephisto, so we'll see. There's some real depth to this episode that comes next. Owen Wilson's character, or Morbius sits down, Morbius, right? Something like that. Sits down with Loki and starts asking him, like, why do you do what you do? Do you enjoy hurting people? And this kind of takes Loki back, because first off, he thinks Morbius is beneath him. I mean, he's a god. He's the god of mischief. He's like, you people, you think you have supreme power. You think you control everything, but you're just an insignificant organization pretending. And really what Loki's projecting is how he's pretending. And you get a little insight about that later, how he actually pretends to have power and to be powerful, and he's not. And he's trying to tell them that you're no different than I am. And so during this sequence, Morbius starts showing him all these different points of his timeline with the Avengers, and Loki doesn't want to really look because obviously it's a big failure to him. And then he shows him a little bit of a glimpse of the future where Loki is a main key factor in his mother dying. This actually takes Loki back a little bit. He's like, what is this? What do you show me? That hasn't happened. And where's my mother? I will kill you for showing me this. Once again, reconveying that emotional moment that we've talked about before in other videos, that Loki and his mom did have a deep connection, and there was a huge turning point in his story. One that has not happened for the 2012 Loki yet, besides via this cool projector. Of course, in true Loki fashion, he does escape this room because Morbius is pulled away by one of the TVA soldiers to talk about the time fugitive who is killing more time Minutemen people. And Loki goes, and of course, in true Loki fashion, he's like, I'm gonna go find the Tesseract and I'm gonna get out of here because these people cannot keep the god of mischief. So he's going through the halls. He meets up back with this office dude he met earlier. He's like, give me the Tesseract, I'll gut you like a fish. And it's a pretty humorous moment because the office guy's like, I don't know what a fish is. I've only lived in the TVA. Loki gets given the Tesseract, and you could tell there's something different about it because it's almost got this dullish hue, not that vibrancy that it typically has. And in grabbing the Tesseract, he looks down into this desk of items that have been confiscated over time, and he sees multiple Infinity Stones. And you're just sitting there, everyone's thinking the same thing. I'm sitting there going like, is that an Infinity Stone? And Loki's like, is that an Infinity Stone? How many Infinity Stones do you have? And then Casey's like, oh yeah, we got lots of those. Sometimes we use them as paperweights. And there's a huge realization that hits Loki. Where he is and what's taking place. And the music changes. And you can tell Tom Hiddleston nails it in his acting performance here, is that he is so small. His Tesseract, the Infinity, all that's taking place is so insignificant to where he is. He realizes the immensity of the timekeepers and the TVA and what they're doing, and that he really is an insignificant part of the universe. And it kind of brings him down a little bit because all he's worked towards, it doesn't matter. This glorious purpose, he finds himself purposeless. And it only goes further because he ends up back in the room and he watches the rest of his timeline. And all he realizes is two things. Is that his family dearly loved him. His mother, Odin, even Thor. One of the greatest sequences when Thor tells Loki, "I thought the world of you, that we'd fight side by side." And he sees himself fall to the hands of Thanos. And it hits him that his timeline does not end in glorious purpose. It ends in purposelessness. Although I would say that Loki's timeline is significant in the Marvel Universe. It's not the timeline that 2012 Loki had dreamed up for himself. He sees it. He's like, this isn't it. This isn't what I wanted. I failed. Which I think is going to make him more primed to help the TVA, because he realizes that he has opportunity to have glorious purpose with what they're doing. So at the very end, Loki's getting recruited to help them capture this fugitive time variant that we've heard about, who's traveling time, where the kid thinks it's the devil. But what Loki is told at the very end is that this aggressive time variant is indeed Loki. All in all, this episode was great. It's a great start to the series. It has me interested in what's going on. I felt like they actually did a lot of character development. Like, we already have a different Loki. We don't have 2012 Loki. We don't have, Avengers Endgame Loki. We have TVA Loki series Loki, who is knowledgeable where it ends for him, but still has this rough, mischievous side to him, because he's not completely fixed. It's not like he all of a sudden made the advancements that his character does in the movies. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm also interested about, either it's on the nose, they want us to think Mephisto, and it's not. But why did Loki or other Loki become this bad, and why is he taking out Minutemen? I do think there's more to meets the eye about the Timekeepers. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We try to put these videos up as quickly as possible for you so you can know whether you should be watching Loki or not, and you definitely should. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps us at the channel. We try to provide you content daily, so go ahead and slap that bell. I know you get tired of hearing it, but it does help us. And thank you so much for watching. As always, until next time, see you later.